Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today I am filming a book review and I am reviewing The Shameless Daughter by Lena Kaaberøl. This one is written by a Danish author and was released many years ago. In 2000 in Danish, so 19 years ago, and in 2002 in English. Why am I reviewing this now? It was because I saw it was on NetGalley and I got it there, so a new edition of this one is being released on the 3rd of September. If I have the date correctly. It is coming in these new covers, which you can see here, and I think they look really good, so they are being re-released again and I approve so much. As I said, it is a Danish author and it was long ago also, of course, translated into Norwegian. It was one of the first fantasy series I ever read and I absolutely loved it. If you're unaware, Norwegian has 2 written languages and most young adult and children literature in this one written Norwegian language called bokmål, but these were translated to nynorsk, which is like really rare for at least fantasy and like young adult literature at least. Even though I would say that this is young adult but a bit younger because the main character is barely 11, and I read them in nynorsk, and since I never read this written language I felt like I learned a lot and could do better in my classes that I was forced to have. Like, I hate writing it and studying it, but I love reading that written language. That was so confusing, but I hope you get me. It was even made into a movie and even with a sequel. So yeah, it is a 4-book series as well, and I read all 4 of them. I don't remember how it actually wrapped up. I apparently read the first book for the first time in 2010, which we are now in 2019. It's 9 years ago, so it's almost a decade. I don't expect my brain to be that smart to remember everything. And this is also the first time I read it in English, and I enjoyed it so much. The English was like super good. Like, why wouldn't it be? But I mean, like, since it is translated, but it's actually not translated because the author wrote it in English herself, which again is awesome. So why don't you stand this, huh? Where is the hype? Seriously. Now that you have a bit of background, let's get into me talking a bit more about this book. It follows Dina, who is the shamer's daughter, and her mother is the shamer, which means that she can look into your eyes and see everything you ever been ashamed of, which I just love the idea of. She can also use this shamer's voice, which sort of make you feel guilty and ashamed, and she is called in when, for example, there have been murders or different cases, and she's called in to like find out if the one they suspect have done this has done it, because then they will be ashamed of it and she would be able to see it. Because Dina has this gift, who is 10, soon 11 as she likes to point out, she doesn't have a lot of friends because people avoid her because they don't like to look into her eyes. People don't like to be confronted with what they have done that is wrong and shameful. Her mother is being called into this city. What is the name of the city? I have notes for this. I can't read them. She called into this city to use her gifts on this person they have found with a knife in his hands and his family members murdered around him. However, when she does look into his eyes, she can see that he's not guilty. So this starts off a chain of events. Dina is also called in to be helpful to her mother in this investigation, and it also has dragons. In this case, the dragons are not that good, but it's still dragons. They're awesome. This book was only like 240 pages long, but it packed in so much in that. I feel like the end was a bit rushed. Like, it was a lot of telling, not showing. Like, it's sort of just the author told us everything that happened in the end instead of like it happening on the page. But then we were sort of like after the climax, so like I understand the reasoning for that. Other than that, like, I think it's such a solid fantasy book. When I read it, I remember I loved it, and when I then started on Goodreads later and added it there, I think I rated it like 3 stars because I didn't really know how I felt about it since it was such a long time since I read it. But now I totally gave it 4 stars at once because it's just such a great fantasy. I love Dina, the main character. She is not scared at all for being a kid, but she like is also a kid. Like, she pees herself in this book, and I just not like, oh my god, gross. It's just such a normal kid reaction, and I feel like just kids can relate with it so well. I love her mother, and I love the people Dina meets. I love Nico. He is precious. In the movie, Nico is played by a Norwegian dude. I haven't watched the movie yet, but you know, I totally should. Norwegian dude is hot, that's all I gotta say. So I very much approve. Nico was always one of my favorite characters I can remember. Even though like I can't actually recall what happens in the next few books, I just know that I loved him, and I love how Dina grows. This is just such a solid start of the series. I love the ideas of it and the world, as I said. Now I am, as I said, very happy that are reviving the series, kinda, since you know it is being re-released, and I hope that more people will be able to pick it up. It is like a timeless piece, I feel like, because it's been out for so long, and I feel like now new readers can discover it, and I hope that you will be interested in it, especially since I have such a long history with it. I read this fantasy book before I was even into fantasy as I am now. Like, that was like one of the books that started it for me, and like I remember it was very popular in Norway. They still sell it in stores, which is like cool because things go out in print in Norway, I feel like, after a while, very easily. Not that like I would take Norway's popularity of things and like think that that will affect the rest of the world, because we're such a tiny useless country. Not useless, but tiny and insignificant in the whole what's happening in media book world. I don't know, okay, I'm joking. Norwegians have power, for sure. Point is that it's just a book that stuck with me, and I hope a lot of people will pick it up. I don't have more to say. It does cover serious themes as well, like abuse, for example, so heads up for that. And I know some things that happen in the next few books, and I believe, like as I said, the whole series is coming out in these new covers, so they will all be available matching. The old covers are sort of ugly, so we should all appreciate the new covers looks much better and much more pleasing to my eyes. I have always wanted to buy them because I always like to buy books that I have read and enjoyed, but I never got around to. But I wanted to buy them in Norwegian because I read them in Norwegian, and like Danish and Norwegian are so similar that it would be fine. But now I'm like, I sort of want the English ones now because they look better. Now I'm gonna stop talking because I think that's enough. I hope you enjoyed this review. Had a bit of personal history to it, if that makes sense. I'm going now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!